What is up, ROG, and welcome to ROG Pulse. My name is Jake Kalinsky, and joining me here this week, we've got Jeff Kapman once again. Jeff, what is good?
Tacos.
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 They are good. I can't argue with that. What's your favorite type of taco? Meat choice.
Carnitas, absolutely.
Carnitas, okay.
Carnitas.
This is our new taco podcast. I go for the barbacoa when I go to Chipotle. I know it's pronounced Chipotle. Deal with it. I like saying Chipotle, okay?
Well, depending on who you ask, it's not real Mexican food anyway.
No, absolutely not. But
it's good in its own way.
Yeah. What's up, chat? Hello, everyone, and welcome. We are diving into talking about setting up a new PC. And this is not building a PC. This is everything that comes after setting up a new PC, from the BIOS to optimizing, the performance using tools like GPU Tweak 3. In this case, I just built a brand new machine. Voila, as we can see here. And there's still like a few nuts and bolts that I have a new fan I'm going to swap out in the back that matches the fans in the front. Haven't done that yet. I just got that in the mail yesterday. I might want to change a few things here and there when it comes to the layout, but cable management is overall pretty good. And this is the Crosshair 8 Hero motherboard, really nice motherboard, with a Ryzen 9 5900X. So I'm pretty pumped about that. I cannot claim that I got it from the MSRP. I had to pay a little extra, but it was worth every penny. This processor is a beast from the week I've been using it for. That is the Noctua NHGH15S CPU cooler, and I mean, it is a monster, but it is silent, which is what's important to me. Actually, Jeff, you recommended this to me.
Yes. It used to be the all-star air cooler in my system build guide that I used to write for my old job, because it has high memory compatibility and it's quiet. And this one is black, so it matches everything.
And there's a lot of really nice liquid cooled solutions. There's a lot of nice coolers you can get made by Asus, but I really just like this black aesthetic. It like fit the aesthetic I wanted to go for. The case is all just flat black with a little bit of RGB mixed into it. And
a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I've definitely seen a lot more, although I do have some strips that I might be throwing into there. And you can actually see that the component at the bottom with the tough logo is not actually part of the PC. That is the capture card, because we will be utilizing that capture card to kind of demonstrate everything on that machine for today, to kind of go through different tools and so on when it comes to min-maxing your new PC. And that's what this is all about, really just kind of helping you guys optimize your fans, optimize your graphics card, optimize your CPU, and so on, so that your build is performing the best it can. And Jeff is the expert here, so he's really going to be guiding me to get that optimal performance on my new PC. This is all part of the plan.
All right. So I think these days, I mean, back in my day, when you put together a computer, you had to do a lot more. And these days, it's really quite simple. Like we just alluded to, you want to make sure your fans are tuned right. There's some stuff you can play with as far as what the temperature sources are and stuff, and you make sure they're not making too much noise, but they're still responding to changes in system temperature. The big one for AMD especially, but all systems, if you're buying a fancy kit of RAM, you get in like that DDR4 3200, 3600 or above. You always want to make sure you're overclocking it, getting your full memory speed. And then past that, really, there's not a whole lot else you have to do if you're fortunate. At least with Asus motherboards. I can't speak for anybody else, but for ours,
as close to plug and play as it gets, I guess.
It's adult Legos, except that doesn't make really any sense anymore.
Very expensive. I also just said
Legos. Lego brand.
So
there is no plural form. Anyway, but what we're going to want to do. So we're sort of starting here, assuming that this is just a brand new PC build, and Jake hasn't done anything to it. He's just made sure that it boots into Windows, everything functions, it does power on self-test, all that fun stuff. And once you're at that point, you can just reboot and start tweaking.
Yeah. So
let's do it.
Where should we start? Do we want me to reboot, or do you want to start within one of these? Okay, we'll reboot.
Well, let's get into the BIOS.
Sure.
Which on your Asus motherboard is delete or F2, I believe.
That is correct. I'm going to get shamed for how many applications I have on startup, but that's okay. We're not getting there yet. We are currently restarting this machine.
Yeah, sorry, you can't see the no signal warning and all that fun stuff, but we're getting there. There we go.
Okay, so here we are into the BIOS.
Look at that. So once you slam delete or F2 a few times at boot, this is what you'll see on ROG motherboards. We drop straight into that advanced mode interface. There is an easy mode. If you press F7, that will just kind of give you an at a glance view of your.
This is going to drive me insane. I've got the two keyboards, one for the stream computer, one for the demonstration computer. Anyways, I hit the right F7 key this time. Okay, so This is a nice just overview.
Yeah, so you can see your CPU temperature. Like if you're coming in here for the first time, and you're like, oh, is my is my CPU idling at the right temperature? Well, it's a Ryzen. Oh, that's actually the motherboard temperature. But it's so we can see again. We got all 32 gigs of RAM here. We've got the CPU fan is going. Interesting. I don't know if the chassis fan is any of the chassis fans are showing up, but yeah, we can figure that out too. The easy. I don't know what's quite up there. Maybe CPU. Oh yeah, I remember. CPU opt is tied to CPU, so maybe that's why it.
Oh, I see. Yeah, because currently the three are actually the four case fans are all on the CPU opt.
Yeah, right. Because we have a fan. You have a separate fan controller in that case that's taking the PWM signal from the motherboard.
Correct.
And so that might be why that is. But again, this is a quick overview of just make sure everything is okay, everything is showing up. I've had systems where one channel of RAM won't be visible, or it's not recognizing that DIMM, or some other crazy stuff. But the big thing for us on a new AMD Ryzen system is that the DOCP dropdown over there in the middle left is not enabled.
Mm-hmm.
And so DOCP is actually the AMD or AMD motherboard's equivalent of XMP. So we can do that here, but it's a little more exciting to do it through the advanced mode interface. So go ahead, Jake, and click back into the advanced mode or hit F7.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in this tab, we have the Extreme Tweaker tab, which is where you can find all your system's overclocking settings. We're not going to dive too deep into these tonight, but for what we want to do here, there's the one that says AI Overclock Tuner. And to get your memory running at its rated speed, you want to change that to DOCP standard. And we're going to see, because this is a DDR4 3600 kit, that profile is going to come up here. And then this is really all you have to do right here, but you can scroll down and make sure that your memory voltage is also correct. The memory frequency is correct. XMP defaults are usually 1.35 volts. That's what it's pulled up. So you're okay there.
And if you're overclocking your memory, you're tweaking this up a little bit, but not much, right?
It depends on how fast your kit is, and it also depends on the interaction between the kit and your CPU.
Right.
Because not every CPU, anything that's on the CPU is subject to the silicon lottery. So this memory might be okay at 1.35 volts. Another kit might need 1.38 to run at its rated speeds, so on and so forth. It just depends. Like I tell everybody, XMP is still an overclock. It's just getting you in the ballpark so you can make the necessary tweaks.
Okay.
To get things stable. But we can stay at 1.35 here. And so the next thing you might do in your BIOS, Jake, if you go back to the or up at the top, there's the Q fan control.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so this is another. I love this fan control interface. So the thing you can do here is to just click. You can go through these curves and modify them. Like there's the setting at the bottom that says manual.
Mhm.
It gives you access to the fan control points, but we really don't have to like play with any of that. You can just go back to standard there and click optimize all up in the top left where you were going to begin with. And yep.
Jeff, as someone who's used to be or still is just an enthusiast of fans and cooling and setting up custom cooling, how effective is this optimize all versus you going in, nerding out, and setting things up the exact way you want them, especially 10, 15 years ago?
Like back, 10, 15 years ago, like this was, if your motherboard had fan controls, they were like text fields or something where you just enter numeric fields. It was really primitive. This is effortless. And I also think like fan control in general has advanced so much because it used to be that fans were just 4-pin Molex and all you had was the power connector, and then fancier ones would have like a 3-way switch that let you select low, medium, and high. But there was only rarely like a motherboard fan control at that point. That was a fancy thing that you had to look out for. And now everything is 3 or 4-pin headers, and ours are like even auto sensing. So like you can plug a 3-pin or 4-pin fan into those headers, and it'll just tell you what you can do. And like even here, you can see from the Q fan tuning that we had our CPU fan's minimum duty cycle was at 60%, and now it's 14.
Wow. Okay.
So that's gonna quiet. I mean, not that the cooler was loud to begin with, but it's really gonna quiet that down. You can click OK there, and then you're set. You can just click escape.
I'm actually kind of impressed that my mouse works in the BIOS because it is a wireless mouse and it's a little sluggish, but it works. So hey.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so those are the two big things I recommend that everybody do, because not enabling your XMP profile is just a great way to lose performance. And then the fan tuning is more of a quality of life thing. Like I can't tolerate fan noise. I hate noisy PCs.
Yeah.
Drives me insane. But again, we do it all for you. You don't even have to think about it all that much, unless you've got fans with really weird PWM ranges, or you're like, okay, I want a particular fan to be faster for some reason, like it's pointing directly at the GPU or whatever. You can get in there and you can spend all day. You can spend all day adjusting. But now the other thing you might do on a modern system, because the latest AMD and NVIDIA GPUs have support for resizable bar, or the resizable base address register, which is a feature that allows for more efficient CPU GPU intercommunication over PCI Express. You do have to do a couple things to enable that. We're going to do it the hard way. So if you go to the first thing you want to check on basically any motherboard is whether the compatibility support module is enabled.
Okay.
Because that's a legacy thing that prevents resizable bar from working. So if you go to the boot tab on your Asus motherboard BIOS, you'll see that setting there called CSM, and you can click that. And we can confirm here that it's disabled by default.
So we
don't have
okay.
We want that off
Got
because it's not necessary with Windows 10.
It even gives you a little message. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Is that still disabled?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So once you've confirmed that that's disabled, you can go to the Advanced tab, and there's a setting, or there's a sub tree for PCI subsystem settings. And this is where you actually enable a resizable bar. So you click above 4G decoding, you click that over to enabled.
Bear with me, this mouse sensitivity is...
Yeah. And then once you do that, you'll get a setting for resize bar support, and you can click that over to auto.
Okay.
So those are like the big 3 changes that can make for a modern system with a modern GPU.
So
and then you can
just to put,
sorry,
resizable bar in layman's terms, it's really going to allow your GPU and CPU to help each other out a little bit better. Is that the idea?
Yeah, because when the CPU has to transfer data into the GPU's memory, like it used to be that there was only like a really narrow window. Like imagine having a wall of post boxes and like you could only put stuff in one at a time, and otherwise this hole had to move around.
Got it. Okay.
And now you could conceivably put, this metaphor breaks down a little bit, but you could conceivably put data in all of those at once. Without having to go through that narrow window. So
and
that's kind of what
something that works with RTX 30 series cards only, or okay.
RTX 30 series, AMD Radeon RX 6000.
Okay, cool.
And if you're on an AMD platform, it's with an AMD CPU and motherboard, it's smart access memory as well.
Very
so
cool.
You may have heard that term too. But yeah, just a thing you want to enable if you've got modern parts. It's a little bit of extra performance you don't want to leave on the table. So. But that really is the basics right there. So you can actually just hit F10 and it'll show you all the things that we changed, which is quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
We have different memory settings. We have we enabled resizable bar. We have all these different fan speeds if you scroll down in that little list there.
Yeah, 4G decoding. Then all the CPU fan speeds, yeah.
And you don't have, and the thing I like about this is before you save, you can review all that. You're not committed to any of these things.
True.
You can click cancel if you for some reason you set your memory voltage to 2 volts or something crazy like that, or your CPU, you're like, oh, I'm about to burn up my thing. You can click cancel, reset to defaults, you're all set. But this is good, so we can click OK, and it's going to save those changes and hopefully reboot successfully into Windows.
Let's hope. No video. That's normal.
No video. We're looking for flamingos.
That's the current Windows wallpaper. Looks like a success.
Yeah, so far.
Till we see the flamingos, we won't know. Unless it changed. I gotta change the this is like a brand new build. So we got the flamingos.
Yep, we got the flamingos.
And now we get to watch a million programs open up, so I'm just gonna let those do their thing because I haven't cleaned up all that yet.
But yeah, the nice thing about most modern processors, but AMD especially, is that I've manually overclocked Ryzen CPUs, and honestly, like the performance gains, these days the processor is extracting all of the performance it's capable of. It's smart enough to know like the power delivery capabilities of the motherboard, smart enough to know the temperature headroom it's got. So it's just going to boost as high as it can within those limits, and give you all the performance. You don't have to automate or manually force it to get more performance out of it. So it's really easy if you're a first-time builder. You don't want to. There are still tweaking options, of course, but if you're a first-time builder and you just want to get going, or you're an adult with many important adult things to do, you can just go and put it together and make the settings we just examined proper, and you're good to go.
Building PCs in general. I've built 2 this year, one for my wife, one for myself. Comparing this to what it was like to build a PC 8 years ago, 5 years ago, the cases are nicer. The way that you install a CPU compared to a decade plus ago is just so much more simple. It's so much easier to put every single piece in. There's no reason not to do it. It's really fun. It's really satisfying. You get to do all your own cable management, which is, I think cable management is like the adulting of PC building. It's like that's when it's like, I'm like cable managing my new office. Like every little cable must be invisible, but it's therapeutic in a way. I don't know. I really enjoy it.
Oh, it totally is. I just have the degenerate thing now where like all the PCs I build are on test benches. So it's like it's like, okay, does it have wires attached? Is everything where it needs to be? All right, turn it on. But that's really atypical. You definitely want it pretty, and that is a very pretty box.
Yeah. The cooler is a Noctua NHDS, I believe.
D15S.
D15S. I tried.
Yeah.
Jeff knows. It's a beast, and I like that's why I went with it instead of an Asus one. It's not that it necessarily performs better. I just really dig the aesthetic on this cooler myself.
We've got, we just released our new ROG Ryzen 2 liquid coolers. We got the ROG Strix LC2 series. You can go find out more about those on edgeup.asus.com.
Yeah, the Strix LC is actually what I put in my wife's PC because she really wanted that clean, open aesthetic. So that's what she gets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And those look pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
But yeah, that's not, I think what you would do at this point normally, I would just fire up a benchmark and just make sure that it's performing as expected. If you're looking at Tom's Hardware, Non-Tech, or their reviews, and you're like, is my CPU performing up to snuff? You might fire up Cinebench and say, okay, oh, look at that. And then like the multi-core test is a decent way to see
what kind of rating, what kind of performance your CPU is getting.
Right.
And this is just, rendering, an image. In this case, it's just a very bland room with lots of sharp lines, but
it's offline ray traced on the CPU.
Right.
So photorealistic. They changed the scoring. I was going to say you have to find a website that benches Cinebench R23.
Okay, so we landed 23,788. 2788. Wow. Yeah. Sorry, not 23. 2788.
Yeah, I was gonna say that memory. That was the real score. We got a lot of performance out of that memory. But yeah, so like that's I don't, again, most sites still bench or bench. Most sites still bench Cinebench R20. Say that 3 times fast. No, don't really. But yeah, so I don't have a comparable score, but I think that's about where you'd expect it. And the real thing is, can you hear it? Like if you run that again, does the fan spin up? Does it like get real loud?
We're gonna find out.
Unpleasant? All right.
So I've got the side glass panel off, and I can gently hear air, but it doesn't sound like a fan blowing. It sounds like just like air and moving. Like it's a really quiet CPU cooler.
Yeah, that's ideal. Broad spectrum noise.
I love the Crosshair 8 Hero motherboard. It's actually the one component that is the same in the PC that I built for myself and my wife. We both landed on that. I just dig the aesthetic.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of spending some time with one for a while. I loved it as well.
Okay, yeah, so we did another test. It's just about the same. We can actually tweak the settings in Ryzen and see how Ryzen Master affects things.
Yeah, Ryzen Master is the AMD tool that lets you enable a couple features like precision boost overdrive and auto OC and all that stuff. Now, on a high, like I said earlier, the CPU is intelligent enough to like know the electrical characteristics and thermal characteristics available to it from the motherboard. And this is a super premium motherboard. So like it's already running kind of at its maximum performance. Not to spoil anything, but when you have like a VRM that good, like a cooler that good. But if you want to see if there's performance available, you can go like Jake, you can go to profile 1 there, I think. There's options in here to enable precision boost overdrive, which is sort of like I can't remember honestly if AMD considers this overclocking. I don't think they do, but I think it makes some of these parameters more aggressive, like the thermals and the electrical characteristics more aggressive. But yeah, I mean, if you save it and then I don't know if you have to reboot or not. I don't think you do, but if you try and run Cinebench again, we'll let that go real quick. I think you're going to find on a system like this, it's this well cooled and has such a solid motherboard in it, it's not going to make a big difference.
Right. Probably very similar results, but honestly, when you're paying for like a nice high-end motherboard, a nice high-end CPU, kind of nice to get
Yeah.
it optimized out of the box where you don't have to sit there for hours, trying to overclock your CPU, trying to, figure out how far you can push it, because I've been there. I'm sure many people in chat have been there where, you're it's like, okay, are we stable? And then the blue screen hits. And that is just a frustrating, it's a process that is worth it in the end, but I'm also all for getting that maximum performance out of the box. And the performance is almost the same from this test here in Cinebench. After changing it, we can actually change it one more time and just see what auto overclock does here in Ryzen Master. Probably won't change much.
Yeah, did the score change much at all?
No, it actually went down a little bit.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
like
just run to run variance.
Right. Yeah, this is a neat way to just, quickly test things. Do you use like Heaven or any other benchmarking tools when you build a machine?
I will use like Heaven is a good GPU stress test.
Yeah.
Because it's entirely on the GPU. And so we can't show that, but that's my go-to. Or Unigine also makes the superposition benchmark, which is pretty good. It's fun to watch.
Again, the score went down, tiny bit, but it's all pretty much the same.
It's basically proving there's not a lot of extra performance on the table.
I'm just going to leave it at default because honestly, I've been super thrilled with this in the week I've been using it, and I don't see any reason to change it.
Beast of a processor. So so the other thing you might do with your ASUS powered system is if you grab our GPU tweak utility, that gives you access to some overclocking profiles on your graphics card. You can control fan speed there, but I just mostly enable it, or grab it to enable those higher speed overclock profiles. So we got our Strix RTX 2080 Ti S2080.
But you could, the availability of GPUs affects everyone, including us. I had the 3070s to try out for a few months, and it was nice, beautiful GPU, but never. I've used the 3080 and the XG Mobile, which is our external GPU that can plug into one of our laptops, the XG Mobile, via PCI on the side. Someday this will have a 3080 in it.
So in GPU Tweak 3 across the top there, you have, I think it's like default mode and then OC mode.
Yep, just for the GPU.
Just for the GPU. And I think OC mode on this card boosts the power target a little bit, and that's essentially overclocking with a modern graphics card.
Yeah, power target goes up by 10%.
Yeah. And you can, if you want, there's not really any harm to this. You can just slam that power slider all the way to the right. That's real overclocking. We're not going to go into the full details of that here, but this is just one of these things. If you enable OC mode, I think you can click save there, and then you're like operating in the most aggressive.
I think
performance
these tabs you don't even need to save. It just happens.
Oh, yeah.
You just click it, and it's it's a quick toggle.
There you go. Yep. But my favorite feature of our graphics cards, I don't know if Jake's going to indulge me on this, is that you can actually hook up your case fans to there's the connector on the front of most of our ROG Strix cards called the Fan Connect 2 header, and you can run your case fans off it. You can control their speed that way. So I don't know if Jake's going to let me.
Well, this is where we're traveling into new territory for me, because I've never done anything like this. So the first question I have for you is, the GPU has, I believe, 3 fan headers. If I'm plugging this one fan hub into it, which one would I use?
So I think that there should just be 2, and either one will work.
Well, the third one has like red. Is that one different?
I think that's like a diagnostic.
Okay. Because again, this is territory I've never even considered. I was like, not interested, but now I'm interested, because you're saying I could maybe get some some better fan control for my GPU performance and that.
Yeah, because one of the things that's always kind of on older systems, and especially if you're not building with ASUS, is that some systems offer GPU temperature as a control source for fans. Most do not.
Okay.
But when you're gaming, if you think about it, most of the time your CPU is not under full load. Like most games are not multi-threaded monsters. But so if you're using your CPU or motherboard temperature as a proxy for like your GPU load, the fans might not spin up enough. And especially with modern GPUs where the cooling is so interrelated with the performance you get out of it, getting enough intake air to the GPU is really important. So the fan connect header monitors the GPU temperature directly. It's like, oh, okay, I need to spin up my front fans. So that's why you would do that.
All right, I'm gonna shut this bad boy down.
We'll see if this works. The shutting down should work.
The shutting down should work.
If the shutting down doesn't work, we've made a serious mistake.
All right, I'm gonna roll over and swap this out.
Okay. So if you were doing this for real, obviously you'd cable manage it. There it goes. Simple as that.
Sorry, what were you saying?
No, I was gonna say I was just being a bit of a difficult person, and I was saying, if you're doing this for real, you would cable manage this. Swapping. Yeah.
I was initially thinking that I would need to, get an extender or something, but this cable actually wasn't tied down too tight in the back, which was a happy, event where I could pull it down this far. So, okay, so this is was plugged into CPU opt, and this is again like a hub it's basically got my 3 fans in the front and the 1 fan in the back. They're all connected to the same hub, and then now that is plugged into the GPU. So if we go over to GPU tweak, you're telling me that I should be able to control these.
In theory, yes. In theory, you should be able to control them.
We're doing this live, guys. We are testing this live. This is not something that we've tinkered with prior. And I got all my programs popping up again. Okay.
So I think so we can see there you've got your in GPU tweak, you actually need to go enable this. We did it prior to the show, just for convenience. But you do need to go in here and enable your external fan speed.
This guy right here.
Header. Yeah.
That is the extent of what we have done so far.
Yeah. So it's going to save those settings, then go back, and then I think so. You can click auto, and in theory, I think is the fan speed slider there? Is the minimum speed like 20% or 30%?
It says 29% right here.
Okay.
I can't tell if clicking auto is doing anything. It doesn't. It seems like it's on.
Well, if you slam them all the way to 100%, does it make it spin up? That's the real question. Then click save. Yeah, reply.
Can't really tell a difference.
Maybe it doesn't play well with the control box. I don't know. But yeah, this is in theory how you would do that. I think if there's a I don't know if there's a curve if you do oh yeah, there it is. So if you want to go in and adjust these case fans, I think running off the header or running to a controller that might not be representing the fan speeds accurately, that's something that can happen. But if you want full control over this header, you can go in here and tweak these just like you would any other case fan. Like if you've ever messed with a fan control interface, it looks identical to that. You can max them out. I don't know what other options are available in here. with GPU Tweak 3. I
Yeah,
think it lets you control the speed or the
update period.
interval.
Yeah.
Uh, there's a few other useful settings in here, but the fan curve is the big one. So if you were like, and I think, again, along the bottom there, you have silent, or that's undo save, right?
Mm-hmm.
Default. Is there an automatic tuner setting for this? Does it
No.
let you? There's not. Okay. Huh. Well, there you go. I mean, this is how you would do this.
Start
If you have,
start
if
auto
you,
calibration.
there.
I didn't see this.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, let's see if this works.
I'm blind. It's okay.
I'm curious if the hub reports the fan speed back to the GPU properly. It might just not. That's how these things sometimes work.
It says EXT fans working range 0 to 100%.
Okay. Huh.
Now it created a new curve.
Yeah. So did your if you click apply there,
There's a save
is
here,
that a bit?
actually.
Oh, save. Yeah, it's okay. Okay. So you save it, and I think then you can click apply. No.
That's a different window. It's for.
Oh, okay.
It's actually.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So did your case fans stop?
I don't think so.
No. Okay. Well, in any case, this is how you do the fan control thing. No, it doesn't look like they stop. The fan controller might have a mind of its own. That's okay. But yeah, if you were setting up a new system with Fan Connect and that's how you wanted to control it, I know for a fact that it works. I've used it with our Strix RTX 3060 with discrete fans, and it works a treat.
It's entirely possible that it's just the hub that all the fans are connected to is not playing nice with this. And do I have to use that hub? Absolutely not. It's just the way I decided to wire the PC when I built it.
Yeah.
That's something I could change very easily if I wanted to.
Yeah. Yeah, but this is, if you wanted to get into again, really sort of detailed fan control, take full advantage of your Asus GPU, this is where you would get into it.
Very cool. Very informative.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, really, again, with a modern PC, especially an AMD PC, that's really all you have to do to get a great experience with it. Good quality of life. You can tune your Aura RGB LEDs too.
Well, yeah, that's all personal, flavor, flare, customization when it comes to that. Creating those profiles. There's a lot of fun things you can do with the Aura creator, and tie in the the PC RGB to your mouse and your keyboard and whatever else you happen to have in your setup. So that's really fun. But it is nice to know that it's as simple as optimize your fans in the BIOS. Turn on XMP for your RAM, for your memory, and then you're more or less ready to go when you're doing a Ryzen PC. How much changes if you're going in with an Intel setup? Is there a little bit more overclocking that we can get with an Intel CPU?
There are some overclocking options on our Intel boards that you don't get with AMD. But I think especially with 11th gen, we did a show recently for AI overclocking. We did a show that touched on adaptive boost technology. So there's some things you can play with in there if you want. But really, you don't have to if you don't want to. If I was building an 11th generation system, it would be pretty similar. We would just go in, we'd enable adaptive boost technology on the i9 11900K. And if that was the chip I was building with, set XMP, get the fan speeds right. That's really it. There are more knobs and dials you can turn, but is it worth the time?
Sounds like
that's up to you.
Yeah. If you truly like to tinker, you can, but you're going to be getting nice performance. Like I said, I only did those basic settings myself when I set this PC up, and it's been slaying anything I throw at it. Been playing a little bit of Resident Evil Village. I'm playing that game in 4K on this PC. I played a little bit the other day. Oh my goodness. Gorgeous game. Ray tracing on, you name it.
Yeah. It looks really nice, even if I can't stomach it. But
well, you're gonna hate me when I continue streaming it on my Friday streams.
It's fine. I'll live. But yeah, again, it took us less than an hour. Like if we weren't talking about it, that's like a half hour at most once your PC is together.
Yeah.
Just to verify that all your settings are right, your performance is right.
Take you longer to get Windows set up.
Yeah, probably.
Because Cortana
So it really
is
is
slow.
simple.
She just drags her feet.
Not even a Ryzen 9 5900X can help.
No, not her. I'm not trying to throw shade at Windows. It just takes forever. Anyways.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, you know, I mean, I think we, for the most part, covered everything we intended to cover today. Haven't seen any questions that really truly related to this, and
the tough gaming capture box CU 4K30
getting that little call out. Yeah, it's neat. You know,
it was running our BIOS stream there.
I mean, it's running this full capture for everything. You know, anything showing the desktop, the BIOS, that is all just coming straight through here, because basically the HDMI is running out of the PC into here, and then it's running out of here into the monitor. So you get, you know, latency free capture. This is really something that you would use more. Like, the average person isn't streaming with dual PCs like this nowadays. This is really perfect for, you know, an Xbox, PlayStation console streaming.
Right.
But I do use it with dual PC streaming from time to time for situations like this, and it's the first time Asus has made anything like this, and it's really high quality. I just like the little RGB strip. I'm a nut for RGB stuff. I'm just obsessed.
It's really versatile too. Like, I'm thrilled you can use it to show your BIOS like this, but you can also like plug a camera into it and use it as a into a webcam. Or just, you know, stream. So
nifty little device. But yeah, guys, this has been a really fun stream. We're going to be I'm going to be tearing all this setup down first thing in the morning tomorrow and converting to having a laptop that honestly rivals this PC perfectly. It's the Strix Scar 15, and I gamed on it last week over Wi-Fi, playing Resident Evil in my backyard next to my fire pit. I actually got to experience being in a burning house while my fire pit smoked me out. It was next level gaming. I mean, that is
true 4D experiences plus cats.
Plus my cats visited the stream. So we will be streaming that on our Twitch page tomorrow. It's a different time than usual. We'll be starting at 1 p.m. Eastern because we actually have a tournament happening tomorrow night. It's a Minecraft build challenge where there's going to be some other stuff happening. So we're just got a bunch of events going on all the time here. So make sure you hit the follow button on our Twitch and our YouTube. It's good to have this podcast and our other podcast now living on YouTube live. Shout outs to everybody that's been tuning into these streams. Thank you for hanging out with us.
For sure.
Any final thoughts, Jeff?
Since
we're just kind of given our, like, this is like what you do when you first build your PC, use the website ninite.com, ninite.com. Ninite.com is designed to just kind of give you all those programs you're probably going to want to download. Things like 7-Zip, Google Chrome, Steam, Spotify, codec packs, and it gives you one quick download. I mean, I don't know if we're supposed to shout out that website. We're not. I mean, whatever. It's amazing. I love it.
I've used Ninite in the past. It's really handy. Makes the software side quite a bit easier.
Yeah. It speeds up the process of having a new machine and gets you going right back to where you want to be. But that is going to be it for our stream today, guys. We'll see you during our gaming stream tomorrow. More?
Yeah, enjoy the optimized box.
Oh, I will.
You're all done. Yeah.
I will. Oh, I can't wait to game more on this. Now I just need that 3080 someday. Yeah. It'll be a glorious day, but it will happen. Well, guys, that's going to be it for us. Till next time, take care.